Welcome. I am so excited that you're here. Some of you have noticed that my Instagram got a little upgrade. It got a little makeover. And this beautiful soul is the reason why I want to introduce you to Em from the Creative Bodega. I have been following her on Instagram for quite some time. And I took her Canva course and it literally changed everything for me because I didn't know what I was doing in Canva. And I really, truly didn't. And she revolutionized it for me. Her course was awesome. It was really fun. And I got to do a VIP call with her and she helped me really get specific on some of my questions. And she offered to do a training for our community. And I had to say yes, because I thought, okay, she's changed my life. Like we need to introduce her to other people. So I'm like, feel free to introduce yourself and take it away. And I can be here to field questions if you want, but I'm so grateful that you would give of your time to.
Absolutely. I just absolutely, my passion is to help female entrepreneurs just nail their online presence to help sell their product, their coaching, whatever you're doing. And I know it's hard and I know it causes a lot of anxiety for a lot of people and it takes too long. And, just a little bit about myself before we jump in. So I'm Emily Connors, or most people call me Em, from the Creative Bodega. I just started the Creative Bodega in October. After my husband and I shut down, we had an online and in-person CrossFit gym and nutrition coaching business. That part of my life I got sick of, but the part that I still had a major passion for was the content. So a lot of people would come into the gym just because of what our Instagram presence was like. And a lot of it was video. So a lot of it, my husband, when we first opened, he said, you're going to be on video every week on Instagram. And I said, you're out of your mind. I'm such an introvert. He's the extrovert. I was like, you're going to be on video. And he was like, people don't want to see me. They want to see you. And I was like, no, please don't make me do this. But I did. And I did because he held me accountable and I committed to one video a week. And I just pushed through. I faked it till I made it. And the videos connected so much more with people than just a graphic very often. So I'm a big stickler for video. But I also love Canva, and how I got started with Canva was with our business and creating graphics all the time for social media, for launching stuff, for, nutrition challenges and creating handbooks and all that. So I kind of decided one day, I don't want to do the gym. I don't want to do the nutrition coaching. I just want to help other people learn how to use Canva in the best, easiest way possible and to create content that really connects with people and gets them to convert into paying clients. So a little bit of what we're going to cover today. So we're going to talk about nailing down a strategy for social media. I spelled online wrong. And success. I was not rushing, I swear, but number one tip for online success, giving more than you ask in your content regularly, making content that's recognizable or branded, some branding mistakes that I see often, and then how to kind of put it all together to make the best online presence that you can to get people to really trust you and be willing to buy from you. So having a strategy. Oh, go ahead.
So sorry to interrupt. Are you advancing the slides? Because I still see the start, the first.
It's not.
It's not advancing.
Okay, so I'm going to then, I'm going to close this. I'm going to share my screen and just open up. I downloaded the presentation on my desktop too.
She's prepared. You never know with technology, right? We have to be ready for anything.
So, okay. So let me just go.
But I love that story about you in the video, because I was the same way. I was like, oh no, I don't want to do video, but it's changed everything.
I know. It really does. Okay. Now, do you know how to make this present instead of
let's see. This is
full screen. There we go. Okay.
Perfect.
So, here we go. That's where I just was talking on that slide. Here's
looks wonderful.
Cover. Okay. So nailing down a strategy, number one tip for online success, giving more than you ask, making recognizable content, 3 branding mistakes, and putting it all together. So having a strategy and actually sticking with it is an incredibly important part of your Instagram presence or social media presence in general. So What is the strategy? So it's basically deciding on a posting schedule that you can realistically stick to. So I like to tell all of my students, I say, if you're only posting 2 times a week right now, please don't commit to 6, because you're going to set yourself up for failure. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to end up just saying, forget it, I'm not going to do anything. So if you're doing 2 inconsistently, commit to 2. If you're doing 2, but you think you could fit in 3, stick to 3. But there's no right or wrong. Of course, the more you post, the more consistently, the more you're going to grow. So personally, I try to post at least 6 days a week, sometimes 2 times a day, but usually once 6 times a week for sure. And I really go later on the weekends. That's my personal, it's sort of my family time. I'm not super connected to social media. And I feel like a lot of my followers aren't as well. So I want to give myself a break on the weekends, but deciding on a schedule and sticking with it. And I try to have a theme for the day. So on Mondays, if you go on my social media right now, which is at the Creative Bodega, you'll see a testimonial came out. That's what I do on Mondays. I will throw in a reel once in a while, which I probably will today. And but Tuesdays are a Canva tip, so I have a theme or a type of post that I do so that I don't wake up in the morning and say, what am I posting today? Right. So you have a strategy. It helps give you direction. It helps provide value for your viewers. And you have a purpose for all your posts. You're not just winging it. Like, what should I post today? I'll tell people about my sandwich, like, people don't really care about that. So when you have a schedule, you can then batch a lot of your content and save a lot of time. So if I know that I do testimonials on Monday, I will collect all these student testimonials, which I just did at the end of my course, and I will make a whole bunch of them in a row in Canva and schedule out all my Mondays. And I can just check Monday off my list. So Monday rolled around today. I made them all this weekend, about 5 or 6 weeks of Monday posts. I don't worry about it. I know something's scheduled to come out. So having a strategy, knowing what type of post you're going to do, it helps you save a ton of time. And it takes the guesswork out of your content creation process, which just means less anxiety, right? So the content strategy, deciding how many days you're going to plan to post, what days of the week and what time. So that's where your analytics come into play. So hopefully you guys have an Instagram business account. You can look at your analytics and see what is the best time of day. Wherever it tells me is the best time, I usually do about 30 minutes before that. So I can kind of hit everybody right when they're coming on. For me, it's usually around lunch. What do you plan to post about? What do you want to be known for? It's what I tell, like, what do you want to be known for, really? And that's how you decide what you're going to post about. So when I first started the Creative Bodega, I sort of did a little exercise where I wrote down all the things I could talk about, that I feel like I know 10% more than most people on. And there were some things in there that didn't, I was like, well, nutrition, I was a nutrition coach and just living a healthy lifestyle. But what did that really have to do with content creation or Canva? Not a lot. So I find ways to work that into my stories, or I find ways to work that into my weekly newsletter, but it's not in my main strategy on social media. So make a big list, figure out what do you really want to be known for, and work that into your strategy. How do you plan to get your audience to engage with you to really grow that know, like, and eventual trust factor? So, and it takes time. I hear a lot of people say, well, my audience, they don't talk back. Well, you got to give it some time. If you're not posting consistently, if you're not asking them to engage with you regularly, it is going to take some time to kind of train them to engage with you. So, really working on getting people to engage with you, whether it's in your stories or even in your posts. How many reels, carousel posts, Instagram stories, what's your plan there? My stories for me are much more organic in the moment. Whereas my reels, I commit to making at least one a week, because the reach on your reels right now surpass any other post you do. So you're in your best interest to make at least a reel a week. Carousel posts are also probably my number 2, or right up there with my number 1 type of post to make, because you're telling people, I've got 5 or 10 tips, but you got to keep scrolling to see them. So that first image is very important to get their attention. And then you're like, hey, keep scrolling. I've got much more where that came from. And those tend to be my most saved posts as well, because they're jam packed with helpful information. And any saves for Instagram are like a super like. So Instagram, the algorithm is like, wow, people are spending a lot of time on this content. They're not scrolling past it. They're hanging out, they're scrolling through, and they're saving it. We're going to put it in front of more people, because what's the goal of the algorithm? Literally just to get you to spend more time on Instagram. That's all they want. The longer you're there, the happier they are. So making sure you're really providing value in your posts. So after you have a strategy, you really, I know this is my number 2. You need to believe in yourself and your knowledge. Like, there are people who can make amazing content, but you just don't get that vibe or feel from them that they are an expert and they believe in what they're talking about and they stand behind it 100%. You have to fake it till you make it. That confidence doesn't come naturally for everybody, but the more content you put out and the more people start talking to you and saying, oh my gosh, like that post changed my life. You don't have any idea what you've done for me. Like, I get goosebumps thinking about it. Like, your confidence raises as you put out more content and you get that feedback from your audience. But you need to believe in yourself and what you're talking about. So I just want to talk about sort of how authenticity in your posts help to connect and convert clients. So the first thing I'm going to say is show your face often. So many times I talk to people who are selling a product or a service, and they're like, people aren't buying from me online. And I go to their feed and I'm about to hop on a call with them. I have no idea what they look like. I don't know who they are. It's when you have a small business or something you're trying to run, like you guys are, like, you have to show up. You need to show people who you are. So, because people connect with people, they don't connect with graphics. They want to see your face. They want to see your emotion. They want to hear your story. So show your face often, be authentic, be real, tell us your story. How did you get here? Why is this important to you? Why are you selling what you're selling or providing what you're providing? Is there a story behind it? You know, even if it is, I wanted to leave my 9 to 5 that I was miserable in, and this is why I decided to do this. Or you have a story of yourself or a child that suffered with something, and your product helped get them from where they are or where they were to where they are now. So let us inside your world, talk to your audience as if they're your best friend. Every time I post a caption, I used to try to be all formal and, like, I don't know, use words that I wouldn't use in my everyday life. And then when I just started to talk like I was typing to my best friend, my captions really started speaking to people and they started paying attention to them. So don't try to be something you're not. Talk like you would to your best friend. That will connect with people more than trying to make very formal types of captions. And a brand, just talking about a brand, it goes so much further than a set of colors and a perfect logo and some fonts that you stick with. You are your brand when you own a small business. You are what truly makes your brand what it is and sets you apart from everybody else. Because there's a lot of people selling the same things. I always tell people, there's hundreds of people, I don't even know, thousands probably selling Canva courses, but no one's me and no one's going to teach the same way that I do. And I am what's going to set myself apart, especially if someone comes and copies my colors, which go for it. I don't care, but you're not going to be me and your videos are not going to be like mine. You're not going to teach like I do. And that's what's going to set me apart. You can't forget that is such a big part of what's going to connect and convert people. So remember, above all else, get out of your head. This isn't about you, and I know it sounds stupid, but like, this isn't about you. If you look silly in your reel, or if your hair is not perfect, or you didn't put makeup on, like, people aren't looking at that. They're looking for value. So get out of your head. I always tell myself, if I help one person in this post, I'm happy. Like, I did it. I'll move on. Even if it doesn't get a lot of likes or comments, if one person DMs me or one person comments or one person saves it, I'm like, okay, good. I helped somebody. So try to really think less about you and more about the people that you're helping. And that's what I had to tell a lot of my students at the end of the course. Like, it's less about you and think about all the people that you're helping with every post that you make. And that's what makes it worth it to me. And it makes it easier. So you need to believe in your message and yourself And I just say, fake it till you make it. I know it's not going to be there probably instantly, or, it's going to take a while to build, but it will come as you start to see all the people that you're helping. So we're going to work on a strategy that we're going to commit to. You're going to believe in yourself and what you're selling or the product you're providing. The next thing I want to talk about is giving more than you're asking. Okay. So that's so important. So I ask myself before every post, how am I providing value to my followers? What tips am I giving? What strategies, what life lessons can I share that will connect with them and provide value? Are you positioning yourself as an expert? Amy Porterfield says you only need to know 10% more than the average person in order to teach about it. That's not a lot. When I heard that on her podcast, I was like, I can do this. I can do this. I know 10% more. I'm going to start teaching people about it. So position yourself as an expert. Are you giving tips and tricks and hacks and inspiration and motivation and education? These are all ways to provide value to people over and over. Are you encouraging people to comment on your posts to get that engagement up? Respond with an emoji, drop a heart below if you agree, double tap if you think so. What's your stance on this topic? Like I just literally put a story out. I was like, cut my hair or don't cut my hair. That has nothing to do with content, but I'm kind of letting you inside my world. I'm going to go to haircut tomorrow. What should I do? Here's me now. Here's a picture of what I'm thinking. Even that lets people feel like they're a part of your world and your life, and they're getting a chance to say what they think it should be. Whenever I create a freebie, I'm like, here's 4 titles I'm thinking of. Which one should I choose? And it's amazing because there's always like a clear winner. And I'm like, thank you, everyone. Thank you, audience. Like, cross that off my list of things to worry about. So encourage people to talk to you and weigh in. And when you write your captions, I just really encourage you to read it again and see how you can improve it. So I will write a caption. I always sleep on it. I do my stuff in advance. So I'll check it the next morning before the post is due to go out. And I will sort of say, is that first sentence going to get people to stop what they're doing and read this? Because that they have to click read more. They're only going to see that first few words of your sentence. Is it captivating enough to make them say, I want to read more, right? So really work on your captions and that first sentence. That is a very important thing. And if you're confused or don't know how to do that, literally Google caption starters and you'll see everyone puts out freebies. I don't have one on it, but maybe I should make one. But there's a bunch of other people that do. Caption starters, Google it. And then I really encourage you to create, watch, and shift. So create content consistently, watch how it does and how it performs, look at your analytics, and then shift as needed, right? Maybe it blows it out of the water and you don't need to shift anything. And you're like, I'm going to repeat that in 2 weeks, Or maybe it doesn't do what you thought it was going to do. And you can kind of look at it from an outside perspective and say, how can I make that better? Was the graphic not very strong? Was my first sentence not strong enough to get people to stop and click read more? Rework it. If something's not working, don't stay complacent and just say, I'm going to do it again next week. I'm always looking at my analytics at least once a week, typically on Fridays, and saying, what did well? What didn't do so well? And how can I make it better? Now, I just want to, there's a caveat to that, like a testimonial post, which is like social proof that what you're doing works, your product works. They're never going to blow it out of the water. I still think it's equally as important, though, as these other tips and tricks. It's the social proof that someone experienced a transformation or someone worked with you and had a great experience. Like that social proof, they never crush it for me, but I still think it's very important to share. So just because a testimonial may not blow it out of the water, I don't think you should get rid of it. I just want to throw that out there. But keep experimenting and fix things. So believe in your message, believe in yourself. You only need to know 10% more than the average person. And trust me when I tell you that we take for granted what we know and the amount of knowledge that we know compared to our audience, our friends, and really anybody else. So Next is your content recognizable? So sort of shifting into the branding of your social media content. So why is branding important? What does it matter? So it helps you really gain clarity and confidence in your posts. You should see the people that I work with on a color story. It's crazy. Overnight, they're like, oh my gosh, like now I know what I'm doing. And I have 5 colors I'm going to start using. And oh, you're saving me so much time. And like, this clarity and this confidence in their posts, it's incredible. And I'm like, yes. So you gain clarity and confidence when you nail down a brand feel, style, look, colors, fonts, all of that. Plus you take away the decision fatigue. You're like, I know what I'm doing. I know what colors I'm using. I don't have to be playing with this color wheel, right? And it also sets you apart from your competitors. So not only does your face set you apart, but your branding can as well. When people are scrolling through social media, they know when they're coming across something from me, and I don't even have to put my logo on it. And I really don't anymore. They'll recognize the style of my posts. So that's a really cool thing. Plus, it helps you attract your ideal customers, right? So, Dr. Laura, came across my feed through somebody else. She probably came, did a quick scan, liked what she saw, was drawn to the way that it looked, and decided to follow me. And I continued to give her information, give her tips. And after a few months, I had an ask. I have a course coming up, who wants to be in it? I'm going to take this many people. So that's where the giving more than you're asking for really comes into play. Because if every day you're telling me, I have this product, you should buy it. I have this, you should buy it. I'm going to stop listening because you're not really providing me value. But if you're just giving me tips, ideas, resources, and then, so I'm always like, give, ask. Like for every 3 posts that I'm giving, I'll ask for maybe something. Here's a freebie that you can download. Give me your email address. Or I've got a course coming up. Who wants to join in? So I'm always trying to give more than I ask. So some branding mistakes to kind of talk about. Everyone laughs at this slide because this is my husband's. He has a small business, a golf personal training business, and I have mine. So I would never just choose somebody random for fear that, God forbid, they would show up on one of these things. So I told him I have to use yours. I love you, but I have to use yours. So inconsistent branding. So you're missing a set of consistent imagery, fonts, and colors that I can recognize. So, and you don't have a defined look or style that represents your brand. And it sort of ends up looking all over the place, right? It's a little messy, and that may read as unreliable, right? Or just a little scrappy. And I don't know about you, but I always want to come across as professional as I can. So I try to stick with a consistent set of colors and templates that I've created in Canva that I can reuse that people will recognize. Yes, I change them up every few months. I'll get bored of them eventually. But for a few months, it's like, this is my real cover image and that's what I'm going to use. This is my testimonial template. It's what I'm going to use. So it becomes sort of reliable and people start recognizing your content. So it's hard to establish trust with your audience because they don't really know who you are or what you represent if your stuff is all over the place. So I really encourage consistent imagery, colors, and fonts when you can. Mistake number 2 is just having poor visuals. When you're going to take a picture of a product or something, get near a window, use the portrait mode on your iPhone, right? Like, don't have dimly lit pictures with stuff in the background. Like, I used to have a nutrition coach who worked for us, and she would take food pictures, and it just was like, there's like stuff in the background and like dishes. And like, I just was like, can you like maybe go outside and like just get above the food and just have the light and take a nice picture? Like, she probably hated me, but this is what I'm OCD about. So I was like, just throw me a bone and go outside and take your food picture. So really try to have nice graphics, nice imagery. I use, Dr. Laura knows, I use the same reel filter for every reel. And not only is it to maybe soften my features at times, but it always looks the same on my feed. The coloring looks the same. So I also have started using a preset, like a photo preset in, oh my gosh, Lightroom, is that what it's called? And so that it looks the same. So just kind of sticking with the same filters. And in my reels, I'll use the same font every time. I'm not like switching fonts, switching the colors of my font. Just keep it simple. Pick something and stick with it. Again, not forever if you don't want to. If you decide one day there's a filter you like more, make the switch and stick with it, right? So what do your visuals say about your business? You know, when a graphic is put together poorly, people will probably notice it, and it may impact how they value your service or your work or your product. So you need to invest the time and energy into creating really great click-worthy images that demonstrate that you're professional and you're worth investing in. Branding mistake number 3 is that you don't show your face. So going back to, you are what makes your business unique. When you go to my feed at any time, you're going to see me multiple times. It's not every post, you know. Some people, it's every single post, it's their face. And then I'm kind of like, what else are you, what else is going on here? So I try to mix. I'm like photographic. That's sort of what I like to do. But the best branding is authentic and true to who you are. And we're only going to know who you are if you show us who you are. Your audience will see through like phony facades or very sales heavy content is not going to resonate with them. So I'm not saying don't sell, but I'm just saying make sure that you're providing more value and giving more than you're selling and asking, because that's what's going to get people to listen to you and pay attention to your message. So when your branding tells people that your business is honest and real and authentic, they'll feel inspired to invest, you know, in you and your success. So they first start following you, they get to know you. Then they start to like you the more they see you and the more content you're putting out that helps them and their struggles. And then they're going to start to trust you so that when you are asking for that sale, they'll be ready to click that button. So kind of putting it all together, having a strategy that you can stick with consistently. And that's something I just want to talk about real quickly too. Like consistency is king. Consistency is king. If you're not posting consistently, somebody else is who's doing the same thing you are. And they're probably going to get the sale. So show up every day, come up with a strategy that you can stick with, figure out what type of posts do the best. How can you provide value all the time, and how can you show up authentically to help people connect with you? Believing in yourself and your message is incredibly important. And fake it till you make it. Trust me, I had to do that. I had to fake it so bad. When I had to do videos, I would tell my husband, get the kids out of here. You need to leave. I will not record this in front of anyone. I'm so embarrassed, you know, all the things. And I just getting in the reps. If you go look at my Instagram now, you'll see I'm doing so many videos every week. It's just getting in the reps is what made me better. And same with reels, you know, getting in the reps is what made me better. Of course, they're going to be uncomfortable. Of course, they're going to be awkward. But then you get over it at a certain point. You're like, people are loving this. I'm providing value. They're liking it. I'm going to do more. So giving more than you ask, providing value all the time, making your content recognizable, having a consistent set of colors and filters and fonts and graphics that you use to make people start to say, oh, hey, that's M's content. You know, what is she talking about today? Consistency, always, showing your face always, and having really strong, beautiful visuals are going to go a long way. You know, something I didn't talk about with Canva is that I really encourage all my students to use the templates that Canva provides. We are not graphic designers. I'm not. I'm good at it, but I'm not a trained graphic designer. I rely on the graphic designers that work at Canva to create graphics for me that I can then personalize for my business. Yes, I'm going to swap out pictures. Yes, I'll swap out what it says, but their layout is always going to look more professional than if you start with a brand new blank canvas that you're trying to build from scratch. It's going to look homemade. It just is. I'm sorry. It is. So try to find some graphics that Canva has already made that you really like, and then personalize them for you. So I personally think that when you put all this together, that's what really makes content that connects with people and converts people. So just some things I wanted to point out, some freebies that I have that I think you guys might like. I've got a step-by-step guide to creating your brand kit in Canva. You can go to the link in my bio. So that's at thecreativebodega.com. There's periods in between the words. I also have a Reels course. It's like a $29 course, start to finish though, really teaching you how to make Reels. Because I know that technologically speaking, they can be a little overwhelming. So that'll be on my website. That's down here. That's what I've got for you. Here's all the places you can find me. And Dr. Laura knows I'm always on IG. That's where my world that I love. But you can always DM me if you have questions, concerns, any of that, and I will always get back to you. And thank you for having me.
This was so good. Thank you so much. Like, I always learn so much from you. And I take notes. I was typing some notes as you were going through, and a few people are asking where they could find you, and you just shared that.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So I'll just put it at the creative. I'm putting it in the chat.
Perfect.
Bodega.
And I popped it over. We got some people watching over on Facebook Live and here. This was so amazing. Thank you for sharing. And I just want to reiterate and really encourage you to make that investment in yourself and in your business. And if you want to grow in any area, like invest in a coach. I'm a big believer in that. And I really wanted to grow in my graphics and how I could create content that looked professional. That was kind of my main, because I'm an activator. I just jump in. So I was putting out the content and doing the things, but it wasn't really cohesive. And Em helped me with that. And Em's Canva course was so good and so well thought out and fun. And just, I was sharing this with one of my besties of, it was just so great because they were short little videos and I would do one. I'd be like, oh, and you could just follow along and do it. Yeah. And then I was like, I think I want to do another one. I think I'm going to do another one. And it kind of grew. So I really encourage you, please go follow Em, check out her courses that she provides, because they were 100% worth every penny and just a really great investment. And I tell my husband all the time, he was watching me kind of making some reels, and like we do the Move It Mondays. So that was huge. Gives you templates and you go and you make them your own. And I tell Mark, see, I'm still like, that course was so worth it. Like, look at this. And he'll be like, wow, that looks really good.
Oh, that's so great. Yeah. I know it was super fun. And, you know, also just to sort of let people know, and this is not to toot my own horn, but I just started Creative Bodega in October. I launched my first course with only about 1,500 followers. Not only, I know that's a good amount, but I mean, I don't have 10,000, not even close. And I sold 45 spots and made just under $11,000 in a week. And so it just shows you, I'm giving you these tips, all these tips I gave you. I really sat down and thought like, why is my content different from other people's? What am I doing that I think got me to this place where people trusted me so much and were willing to invest in my course? And like Dr. Laura was saying, like I showed people how I taught. I would give tips every week. I would do short videos and say, hey, did you know you could do this on Canva? Like, so people got a sense, I think, of what the course may be like or my teaching style, and were way more likely to buy from me when I was ready to ask for it. The course is not available right now. I'm taking the summer I've got a 4 and a 5-year-old. So we're hanging out this summer, but I will be launching it again in September, just so people know. And the best way to find out about the course is by getting on my email list. So like if you download anything from me, or there's a newsletter link in my bio, like they're going to hear about it first. So make sure you do that.
It's so good. And so in the meantime, people can do the real course. Cause I get asked questions.
Totally.
How do you do the reels? And I'm like, oh, there's a course for that Em has.
So nice. Thank you.
And check out the Canva course coming in the fall, because it really is great. And her email list is fantastic. I'm always taking little tips, and it's so good. And it's not overwhelming. It's very well planned out and short and sweet. I don't open a ton of emails, and I open M's because I'm like, oh, what does Em have to share? People
say that to me. You know why? Because I'm always just trying to provide value. I am always, And I do a little format called 3-2-1, which people really love, which is I give 3 ideas for your business to grow your business, 2 things I'm loving right now, which could be anything. I'll be like, here's a shirt I got from Target.
I love that shirt from Target.
Obsessed. And I'll say like, here's a recipe I made this week, or here's a reel sound that I think is awesome and everyone should use. And then I do 1 action to take this week. So, and people will say like, oh, I love your email. And well, I don't want to steal it. I'm like, well, it's not mine. Like, steal it if you like that idea, go for it.
So good.
Yeah.
This was amazing. I love, go and follow her over at the Creative Bodega over on Instagram. This replay will be up. I'll also, if it's okay with you, I can put it up on YouTube and we can just share the information out. So if you have friends or team members or people that they weren't able to catch this, there's so much value provided. And you can see in the comments, I don't know if you can see them, but so many people were like, this is packed with so much value.
Oh,
this is huge value. That's the word, right? That's the magic word that you were talking about.
Yes, I know.
And always
remember, before every post you put out, how am I helping people? How am I providing value? And if you're not, go back and fix it and then put it out.
Yes. And that always stuck with me. It's not about you.
It's not about you.
It's about them. Yeah. It's about who can you go out and serve.
Get out of your way. Yes. Think about all these people that you're helping. That's so exciting. That's what lifts me up. Whenever I get a little stuck or a little concerned, I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to help. I'm going to help people today. It's not about me.
And it makes you feel better.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So good. Thank you, Em. Thank you for your time. It always feels like hanging with a bestie when I get to talk to you.
Yes, I agree. And yeah, any questions anybody has, you know where to find me on Instagram. Just shoot me a DM.
Amazing. Cool. We're so grateful.
Good. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here.
All right. Bye.
Bye.